Every day, there are people all over the world looking to create better lives for themselves and their families. Not gurus or overnight millionaires. These are moms or retirees or college students, everyday people who are fed up with the 9 to 5 and realize there is another way. They are Amazon sellers, they're freedom builders, and these are their stories. Hey guys, so on today's Jungle Scout Seller Stories, I'm joined with Ruanika. I think I said that correctly. She's tuning in from the UK. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. Very good. I'm really excited about it.
We're really excited to learn a little bit more about your journey. Before we do that, do you want to just tell everyone watching a little, just brief introduction, who you are, and a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so I sort of came across Amazon pretty much by accident because we were looking at investing in property and went to one of these seminars. And someone in there gave us a free ticket to an Amazon cash flow discovery or something along those lines. And and I've never heard of that Amazon sellers before. I've known about eBay, but never heard of Amazon. So that then sat on my handbag for the next few months. Didn't do anything about it. But eventually, when we couldn't do what we wanted with the property market, I just thought, let's try it, and started doing a little bit of research on it. I came across your Jungle Scout product launch, which was Jungle Sticks, and I followed that case study. Pretty much learned the ropes from there. Just follow that tutorial to set up my first product. Used Jungle Scout to find my first product. I just thought, let's invest a small amount, go with it and see what happens. And that's how I got started. And that was September last year.
So I want to hear a lot more about kind of the whole journey. But if we fast forward to today, where are you at on Amazon right now? Whether like how many products you have or how much maybe revenue you're doing or anything else you want to share?
So it's almost a year to be year and 2 weeks, I guess, this week. And I checked today, and I think over the last year we've done about 130,000 in sales.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy. Congratulations. That's a very impressive milestone. So nice job there.
Yeah, I never thought that's possible. It's crazy. I think it really started taking off a few months ago when we reached a certain amount of reviews and this and the other. But I think we were running at about 10% profit for most of that time. But now we're starting to see about it creeping up to 20 to 25%.
Yeah, that's actually pretty common for a lot of my products too. Like when you start off, you have to offer it lower to get more sales until you start building up reviews and social proof, and then you kind of like increase margins over time. So cool. I want to know a lot more about that, but before we do, I kind of want to like rewind to like before you got started. So what were you doing before you started selling on Amazon? Do you have another day job, or how do you spend your days?
I do have a day job.
Okay.
I'm a programmer by trade.
Oh, cool.
So this all started from us looking to find a bit more stability, I guess, because I am a contractor and I know my job could go any minute.
Okay.
Being an IT contractor, that's how it is. So it's not like it's a permanent job, although I don't know
Right.
if that's such thing anymore. But so I was trying to find something that could run in the background and generate some passive income
Uh-huh.
alongside my job, and eventually maybe if we're lucky to do that full time. But
Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, I initially looked at doing property because property is pretty big in UK. Everyone does property here.
Right.
And somehow obviously we had few things go wrong and we didn't complete a lot of the transactions, so that was a bit of a downturn. And then we just thought, this sounds so too good to be true, let's try it.
Do you remember how much money you spent on your first product or to purchase your first product?
Yeah, so it was 100 units. I think it was cost me roughly about $500 at the time because it was really
Okay.
expensive to buy 100 units
Right.
because it's such a small quantity. But I thought £500, it's fine, I can risk that.
So you spent 500 pounds, and Tell me about like kind of what you were thinking at the time. Were you scared? Were you excited? Did you think this was easy? Do you remember?
I thought it's a little bit crazy, but it's sounds too good not to try it. It seems easy to set up, so it's a case of why not? What could go wrong? Really, just try it. So,
And you launched a private label product for your first product?
yes, it was private label, and it was fulfilled by Amazon. It was I didn't want to do anything that took up my time.
Did you do it in the US or the UK or what marketplace?
Yeah, so it was USA.
So why did you choose to do the US over UK, considering that's where you live?
I think everywhere I looked at, the market size is so much better in USA. All the examples and the tutorials are based on USA, so I
Right.
thought, it's kind of a challenge as well. I just thought, let's go for it and see what happens.
So what did you say your husband works on it with you, or who else?
Yeah, so it's in we kind of work together, and
Okay.
I mean the setting up of it, all the IT side of it is sort of my job,
Yeah.
and I do all the optimization of the listings and all that, and then he runs the day to day, looks after the stock, talks to the suppliers. He's very good with people, and
What did he think about it? Was he skeptical or he was excited about it as well, or what?
I think he was a bit skeptical at the start.
Are you looking over to him like
Yes. I think he thought it was another one of my crazy ideas.
Yeah, so the early days I know are very exciting. So I guess you had lots of emotion. Some people might have thought you're a little bit crazy. Tell me, how did you feel when you got the first sale?
Amazing. So basically, I listed it on like in the night, UK time. Obviously, it's daytime in US. And the next morning, I had no PPC, nothing, just listed it. And I don't think the listing was particularly optimized. I mean, it wasn't bad. And the next morning, I sold 5 units.
Wow. So you just put it up, you didn't do any PPC or anything. You wake up and you have
Nothing at
five
all.
sales.
Nothing at all, because I didn't even know that the product will go live, and I was screaming and shouting. And I posted that on Facebook, thinking, "Oh, this is crazy!" I still got that screenshot of
Yeah.
5 minutes, but yeah, obviously afterwards I did a little bit of a launch and all the usual stuff. Yes.
I'm sure it's like scary at first. You invested 500 pounds of your money, and you woke up and you had five sales. And then what did you think? Were you like, tell me more about that?
It was going to be fantastic. I thought every day is going to be like that, and I'm going to be one of these people who makes $1 million in the first month. Obviously, it didn't quite turn out to be like that. But I think my expectations were always way up there. So that
Okay.
was one of the things I had to sort of climb down from later on and
Right.
try and manage my expectations. But I think when you have success in the first days, kind of you expect it to be the same.
So I guess as business owners, we both know it's not all just great feelings like that. Tell me a little bit more about some of like the struggles or the hardships you've had.
I guess it's like I said, it's managing your expectations, and um, it's just not trying to compare how much you're selling against someone who's really successful, because you kind of hear all these nice stories about people making, I don't know, 100,000 in 2 months or 6 months, and then you kind of thinking, is this really going to work? And I think teaching yourself to be patient
Uh-huh.
was difficult, and I guess the other thing was we kept running out of stock because we weren't prepared for or didn't know what the pattern's going to be like, and that kept sort of
Right.
hindering our progress. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess if you only have 100 units and you're selling five a day or 10 a day, it doesn't last too long, does it?
No, and that happened several times.
Or can you think of any other kind of like struggles that you had with it? Like if you had troubles with Amazon, or do you have any horror stories from your factory or anything along those lines?
To be honest, I didn't really have a lot of problems.
It's gone pretty
Um,
smooth.
it has gone pretty smooth. I mean, Amazon, in terms of setting up the listing and setting up my account and all of that went pretty smooth. And in terms of suppliers, I've been very lucky with my supplier. They've been really good. They communicate very well and quick to respond, and the product's been really good. And the only thing I had happened to us was we lost a shipment once, and that was pretty early on.
Yeah,
um,
I bet that was frustrating.
that was, yeah,
Tell me
because
more about that.
it was meant to be air shipment with UPS, and the status never updated. So I don't know today what happened to it. So this was at the point where we needed more stock coming in, and that meant we then had 6 weeks of out of stock because we had to get that all redone, and we lost all our rankings and all of that because of that. But luckily, I mean, our supplier was very good about it. They redid the whole thing free of charge for us because we used their freight forwarder, so they took responsibility for that.
Okay, so you weren't necessarily out any money for the shipment, but you did
No.
have 6 weeks or whatever of no sales, which that's costly. If you had never run out of stock in the whole year that you've been selling or whatever, how much do you think your revenue would be? Twice
Oh
as
God,
much?
I hate to think. I mean, probably I think probably double that, because every time we have stock now, we tend to do about 20 to 25 a month. So if I had done that the whole time, that would have been double what we're doing now.
Yeah, 20 or 25,000 a month, is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah.
Cool. So do you still just have the one product or do you have more now?
No, it's just still the one product, but we have
Wow.
variations.
So what are your plans moving forward? It seems like your first product was a good one. It seems like it's doing really well. $20,000 to $25,000 a month on one product's excellent. What are you planning on launching more products? You happy with this one? Tell me a little bit more about what's next.
So we are trying to expand to UK and EU. I mean, we've already set up in UK about 4 weeks a month now, and I'm following your case study about the $1 million.
Oh, nice, excellent.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see how to do EU at the moment, and I'm waiting to see what you do with it, basically.
Cool.
So we got that, and I think the product we have, we can still do a lot more variations with it. So I think that's probably where we'll focus, rather than launching a brand new product, because now that's all set up and it's got its reviews. I think we can do a lot more with it.
Tell me a little bit more about. So you said you invested like 500 pounds to
Mhm.
get started. What
Yeah.
about, because in my opinion, one of the biggest downsides of this business is how like cash intensive it is to keep
Yeah.
purchasing inventory. Were
Mhm.
you able to, did you have savings or have you had to use any other methods to get cash to purchase
Mhm.
inventory? Or talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only just about got to the point where it's running itself now. Um, so before that, yeah, we had to use our savings and sometimes credit cards just to keep it
Yeah,
rolling. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that my husband was more confident about, is expanding and investing more money into it, whereas I would have not been so confident about investing
right.
some money on it. But yeah. Um, he did convince me to do it, and we did go ahead and expand our range. And I think soon as we started adding a few more variations, it's really started taking off. So that was turned out to be the right decision.
That's always tough though, because people ask me like, if I get started now when the product does well, like how long do you think it is until I can like quit my day job or do something like that? And it's like one of the things you have to consider and like be thinking about is like cash flow, right? Like the more you reinvest back into your business, the faster you can grow. Or do you want to pay yourself more money and like grow slower? So that's kind of like everyone has to make those kind of decisions themselves, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. We've not taken any money out of it just yet. I mean, like I said, it's only just about starting to run itself. Although I know we got loads of stock, which will eventually turn into cash. But I think we will keep reinvesting. I mean, right now we don't have the need to take any income out of it, so we're lucky in that sense. But yeah, I mean, my expectations were the same. I thought I'll be able to retire in 5 months or whatever. But obviously, like any business, you need it to reinvest into it and grow the business first, I think.
What motivates you? Why did you why do you want to go through the work of doing the Amazon business and everything else? What are kind of the end goals, or what are your motivations?
The goal is to be able to not have to rely on a job. So to be financially secure and financially free. I mean, that was what started this whole thing about trying to find a passive income, because I've been made redundant twice, and that was scary. So part of me, because of that, really didn't want to rely on a job. I wanted to back up our income with something else. So that's where all of this started, and I mean, that is the motivation. I mean, I want to be in a position where I can free up my time and travel a bit more and do a bit more charity, um, and just not having to have financial worries.
Probably the same thing that motivates a lot of us. Would you like to, if you can grow this business to big enough, would you like to quit being a programmer, or you still enjoy that?
Yes, definitely I would.
You
I
definitely want to
would
quit, or
I mean, I don't dislike my job. I got. I mean, it's close to home. I can't complain about my job, but eventually, I would like to have my time freed up. That's one of my number one things, is to have the time and the freedom to do what you want to do. And this is having my parents in Sri Lanka as well. That's one of my key things, is to be able to go there, and stay
right?
a few months if needed. If one of them is sick, then I can't right now do that. I haven't got the freedom.
Yeah.
So part of this is to have that freedom and time to be able to do things like that.
Have you ever thought about how much money it would take for you to feel like really good, like that you're like financially free, that you don't have to worry about it anymore? Have you ever thought about like what that number would be?
Yeah, I mean, we did all of these calculations.
How much do you feel like you need to make in profit a month to
I
like
think
be able to feel
it's
like,
a question of, I think what we're doing right now is actually we would be financially free if we didn't keep expanding. But it's a case of how much does it take to maintain the same lifestyle. And the other thing is, I kind of want to back this up with some assets, maybe, because I think of Amazon as more of a cash flow, and it's a changeable world, and Amazon can change their rules anytime, and I'm a bit apprehensive about giving up everything before I can have another safety net. So that's another reason as well. I
yeah,
want to have like 2 layers of safety before I can quit my job.
right. Yeah, no, rightfully so. Do you have any other immediate family besides your husband?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister,
Okay, cool.
both in Sri Lanka.
Both in Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
What are they interested in the Amazon thing now, or have your other friends gotten interested in it, or what?
My brother and I have actually started something in Sri Lanka together, not to do with Amazon, but after having dealt with suppliers in China, we're doing like an import-export business in Sri Lanka as well together. So that's
Cool.
benefited them quite
Yeah.
a bit, because it follows the same model. They would take orders, and I would just pass the. It's a bit like drop shipping, I guess. And yeah, that's benefited them financially, which is great.
Nice.
But in
Yeah,
terms of
you
friends, yeah, I've sent the same set of tutorials to everyone I know, and I know a couple of my friends are really into it, and they're looking at their first products. And
it's funny how it spreads like that. Like now, like both my brothers sell on Amazon, like a bunch of my friends, like and all their friends, and it's cool
yeah,
though.
I think also when they're like me, they just thought it was a gimmick. It's not possible. And I think, having seen how quickly I established our listing and sales and all that, and I think they're starting to get convinced.
And that's interesting because that's like because there are like a whole bunch of gimmicks and stuff out there, right? Like, and it's pretty hard, like as someone, if you want to become an entrepreneur, to kind of like weed through like what are legitimate opportunities, like what are kind of gimmicks and stuff, right? Do you have any like tips for people on that, or I mean, how were you able to tell like Amazon's like a legitimate opportunity for you?
I think my reasoning behind it was, this. I researched it, and I could see so many people having these success stories, and I thought, what does it take? What is the risk of trying this? And I thought really, compared to, say, I mean, what we were doing before property, you're looking at putting down a big deposit, and then you have your legal costs, and and in the end of the day, it might not even go through, and you would have lost all that money, which is what happened to us. And I thought, what really is the risk of trying this? And it's really very, very minimal risk. And I thought, I'll be a fool not to try it. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you compare it to like buying properties, right? It's like a very low investment.
yeah, exactly.
Like what I always tell people is, even if your first product doesn't like go really well, right? If it's not like,
Yeah,
a big success and stuff, you learn so much just from that process that, even
absolutely.
if like you were just to recoup your money, you could probably do really well in the second product, right? Like how much more do you know now compared to like when you, or even
Yeah,
like 2 months after you started compared to before then? Like,
absolutely, definitely. Yeah. I mean, if we launch another product, we will do it differently, because obviously this one was trial and error, and a lot of error.
what are some of the things that you wish you knew, or what's some advice you'd give to yourself, like 1 year ago before you had started?
If I was doing it again, I probably would have been a little bit more confident about how it might have gone, and being prepared for getting out of stock. Because I think we went out of stock so many times, and that's just the first 7 8 months constantly out of stock, and that wasn't helping our progress. And the other thing I would have done, probably would have done a bit more of an aggressive launch, because I pretty much turned on PPC, and then gave away 5 or 10 units just to get some reviews initially. And I just couldn't bring myself to give away product, because I only had 100 units. So didn't really have much room there. So I think if I was doing it again, I'd probably be a little bit more confident about that.
Yeah, I think the launch process and like the giveaway process is tricky for a lot of people because, like me, now I've like launched a whole bunch of products. Like I'm very confident in the process, so it's like okay, like I'm willing to lose money for the first month or two because I know in return I'm gonna have this listing on Amazon that makes me a lot of money. But I think for a lot of people, it's really a scary thing, right? It's like man, like I just started this business, I've just been losing money for this first month. Like like maybe I'm doing everything wrong. Uh, so that's like really tricky for a lot of people, right?
It's difficult. It's difficult because not only you're sort of losing your cost, you're sort of spending money on PPC and your Amazon fees and all that, and also like I came to it on the back of having few property transactions failed, and that cost us about £10,000, which was a lot of
Wow.
money.
Yeah,
So
no kidding.
I was
That's
trying
significant.
to do this with minimal capital. So it was just trying to prove that it works without risking too much money. So
Have you attempted any other kind of like entrepreneurial endeavors before that? It sounds like you did try to do the real estate investing thing. Obviously, the Amazon sounds like you did something import export in Sri Lanka. What were there any other types of things before that?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I've done, I've done
Yeah,
so
no, it's kind of like a typical entrepreneur. There, tell us a little bit more about like those.
a little business running, producing Sri Lankan curry sauces, which I did for about 2 years. And this is all before sort of finding out about passive income and freeing up my time and all that. This is going the classic sort of self-employed route and doing everything yourself. So I did the whole production. I'd come back from work, cook these sauces, and in the weekend I'll take them to a country fair or something, sell them, and did this for about 2 years, and that was successful. People loved the stuff, but got to a point where I had to either invest huge amount of money on it or keep losing my evenings and work weekends to kind of break even. So that was my first venture. So and then I went and bought a tea plantation in Sri Lanka, which is kind of still there. But obviously, the first year I had it, they had a drought. So then I had like a fungal infection on all my tea, and I had to replant the whole lot. So it's still there, but it's another venture that's not quite
Yeah,
successful.
it seems like you're like a pretty like I'd say like experienced entrepreneur. Like you've tried like quite a few different things, right? Like which is cool because like now you have a lot of experience in like all these like kind of like different fields. In your opinion, do you think like selling stuff on Amazon is like the best opportunity for entrepreneurs right now? And like, what's like more attractive about it than like these other types of businesses?
I think absolutely yes. Everything I've tried, I can't think of anything that you can start with such small amount of capital and run with such small amount of time and effort as well. Because I know, I mean, I'm obsessed about my listing. I've spent hours and hours optimizing it and fussing over tiny little details. But once you got past that stage, I think it just sort of runs itself. So I honestly can't think of anything else that is.
How much
And
time would you say you spend on it each month now that it's like up and going? And
recently, I don't think I'm spending much time at all, other than, I mean, I'm spending a bit of time in Europe trying to find out, I mean, trying to get it going. Other than that, US is just runs itself now. It's a question of staying on top of the stock levels, which has been our biggest problem.
if you weren't trying to expand, if you were just trying to run your current business that does like 130K a year, would you say that would take 3 hours a month, or how much?
So yeah, if you're strictly talking about how much time it takes to sort of maintain it, yeah, probably like a week, a month. But I do look at it every half an hour, which is kind of addictive, really.
I hear that from a lot of Amazon sellers actually. Like most of their time spent is checking their sales. Let me ask you this one. What are your motivations to expand into the EU as opposed to just continue to sell products in the US?
Not a lot of logic behind it. it's it's
That's
uh,
okay though.
it's a case of UK didn't look like there wasn't much competition in UK for our product. So it looked like on initial analysis, like it's still something people buy, and didn't seem like there's a whole lot of competition. And and I thought it's our home country. It's easy to have stock and manage returns and all of that. And I thought, well, just stick it in there and see what happens. So
The truth of it though is like a lot of these like decisions like as an entrepreneur are like even like or for me like a whole bunch of stuff I do is like I don't have like great justification for this. It's just like I think it would be like a good next move, right? So I mean
no.
I think like you're kind of like hard on yourself, and in reality, like that's like the truth of like most entrepreneurs, right? It's like yeah, I mean, I think this is like a good next step. I don't know why, I just think so.
Yeah.
But there are good things about like it adds a little bit more complication having multiple marketplaces, but like then you're not so reliant, at least like on one marketplace. There,
Yeah.
just other like expansion opportunities. Like there's a lot of good reasons to expand to Europe.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think
It's
it's smart. I was just
it's
curious.
it, yeah. I mean, why not again? It's UK's been a hard one to predict. I mean, we got some weeks we're doing really well and we're beating USA, and then other weeks we've got nothing. So UK is really turning out to be difficult to sort of see a pattern at the moment. But I think it's because we're very new in the market, and I think Ghani's listing needs to get established a bit more. Learning from how it went in USA, it took about 6 months. And again, I haven't done a launch in UK either. So
How has your mindset changed now that like you've launched this product and it has been successful? And what I mean by that is like oftentimes like a few things that you've kind of like said is like beforehand like you weren't sure like if this was a scam or like whatever else.
yeah, I mean, mindsets change quite a lot. I think it's what surprised me is what you don't know what's out there. If you know what I mean. It's surprising what opportunities are out there that you're not really aware of. And lucky for me, I just came across that leaflet, and I've been telling this to everybody I know, because saying, "Look, this is so easy. You should do it. It's just go ahead, try it, and see. Nothing to lose, really, is there?" So,
What would you say to
yeah,
people who are worried that Amazon's like too crowded now and there's no more opportunities left?
I don't think. I mean, I think there's a lot of new sellers, but I think if you do your listing well, and if you differentiate yourself from everybody else, I think you can still succeed. What I noticed as well when I launched, there was a lot of sellers around the same time, and I didn't see, some of them are still there and some of them have disappeared, and it just depends on how committed are you are to learning it. I think the biggest thing I could say is just spend time learning the nitty gritty of it, and learning and understanding the PPC, for example, or how to optimize your listing and this and the other. I mean, I was obsessive about my listing, and it's funny, you can sometimes you dream about a change, and I think, oh God, I need to change this bit about my image, and it's bad. but that's how it works, and you start to see things that you can change and you can differentiate. I think that's my biggest advice, would be to try and come across as something a little bit different, and try and offer something a little bit better, try and provide good customer service, stand out from the rest of the crowd, I think. And then you can always, it's like retail, isn't it? You have to offer something good.
Were you worried about, like coming on, sharing your story, that it would like increase competition, or like, do you ever feel like you shouldn't really like you don't want to tell too many people because you think too many people will get on, or what are your thoughts about that?
I think initially, probably I was trying to keep everything secret, but I think now, yeah, it's going to take someone really, really good to beat it, because it's established and it's got reviews, and it's a really good listing, and we're ranking well now. So I'm not
Right.
so worried about that. I mean that's always there, isn't it? There's always going to be someone better than you, but
Yeah. Or not necessarily about like your particular product, but just about like the opportunity in general. That was more so what I was referring to.
Mm. No, I'm not worried about that so much. To be honest, I haven't really given it a lot of thought.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I'm just
still,
curious because like I guess one of like the trends I've kind of picked up throughout this like series of interviewing real Amazon sellers like yourself is that like it seems like pretty much when everyone starts, there's like this very much like scarcity mindset. They're hesitant that, like it might be a scam. They have self-doubt of whether or not they'll be able to be successful or not. And then after a certain amount of time, it seems like everyone's mindset shifts into like more of like abundance mindset. Like, wow, there's like way more opportunities out there than like I have cash to like invest in, and that type of thing. And it sounds like it's kind of similar for you
yeah,
if you
definitely.
don't really worry about it.
No, I would totally agree with that. I mean, you've proven that with the products you've launched, isn't it? So there's always opportunities out there.
If you were a brand new beginner listening to this right now, how many hours do you think someone can expect to spend like learning and becoming educated about the opportunity before they should like invest in their first product and launch their first product?
I spent about 3 months learning it, because
Was
I
that
would.
like 2 hours a day for 3 months, or
Um,
on the weekends, or?
no, I think I was listening to these tutorials pretty much every minute I can get. So I'll be always hooked up onto my headphones while I'm cooking, or I mean, to the
Yeah.
point that my husband sometimes said, "Oh, switch that thing off."
So you were pretty obsessive about learning for three months. So maybe let's see, maybe we could say 100 hours or more. Would you
Possibly,
say that's
yes.
accurate? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I
So like
mean, that's me. But someone else might just get the whole thing very quickly. I was just obsessing about the detail.
you said you saw the Jungle Sticks case study. Are there any other good resources that you watch or listen to that you could recommend to people?
I used predominantly Jungle Sticks, and then I listened to Scott Walker's podcast as well.
So everyone listen, that's the Amazing Seller. It's really good. Scott's
Yes,
even a friend of mine.
and I also listened to Mark Scott Adams' podcast
Okay,
as well, and I used the checklist on his website to
cool.
sort of narrow down all the. I mean, at the start, I had like 50 product ideas. I mean, I
Right.
had things, water bottles and baking masks, everything everybody comes up with, I think. So it was really useful, that checklist, to sort of eliminate that kind of thing very quickly. So yeah, I mean, those are the three main resources.
Cool. Did you do any paid courses or paid education or anything, or that's
No, I think
cool?
thanks to you, everything's out there. out there for free, and which I'm really grateful for.
I'm glad that was what you needed to launch it. That's really
Absolutely. I
exciting.
mean, you're enabling a lot of people like myself to come and try this. And I mean, definitely, I didn't feel the need to have to go and do a course. I mean, I'd love to have a mentor probably at some stage to take it to the next stage. But yeah, to get started and to get where I am, didn't feel the need to have a paid course.
Yeah, that's the idea behind our case studies. It's like I think some people worry, that like, oh, since it's like free, it's probably like holding back, but like there's nothing like I don't share with the public, right? It's like every trick
No,
I know I'm sharing with you guys, I promise.
absolutely. No, I totally agree. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I followed your course and it was setting up listings, shipments, everything. I kind of had your course on the one side and did the shipment on the other side. So pretty much followed it step by step.
What are your goals then for the next 5 or 10 years, or where do you see yourself in the next 5 or 10 years?
In 3 years' time, which is when I'm 40, I want to try and retire. So I've given myself 3 years
Wow.
to.
So most people would never even dream about trying to retire at 40. I think it's a really good goal, though. I think it's very achievable.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah, I mean the next target in terms of Amazon, I'd love to hit 1 million. That would be great.
Uh-huh.
We might have to launch a few more products, but I think the focus this year is to get on top of the stock situation, and then focus on what we can do with more products or more variations of the same.
Well, this has been a very good interview. I know everyone watching this is going to picked up on lots of good insights and hopefully help them. Your story is very motivational. Even a few times my hairs stood up on my arms listening to it. So I really
How is
enjoyed
that
it.
from horror?
No, it's from like I had the chills of like these inspirational moments and how it's kind of like I can like pick up on like through your voice how this has kind of like changed your life and it's really cool. Like this is kind of the first opportunity of like all these that you've tried that's like really worked out for you and like you're really succeeding at. So nice job.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Greg. And I just want to say thank you very much for the great work you do. I mean, you really enable sellers like us to go and do it. I mean, otherwise, I think a lot of people wouldn't know where to start. So I'm really grateful for that and all the charity work you do as well. I think that's amazing.
Fantastic.
And
Thank you very
especially,
much. I'm glad I can help out. That's what really like excites me and like gets me like out of bed
yeah,
every morning, it's like these things. It's amazing to be a part of. So
yeah. I think
thank
I mean
you.
people love to hate capitalism, but I think it's people like you that give you a good name, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan
Good.
of capitalism, and I mean I came from Sri Lanka pretty much with nothing,
Right.
and got to where I am now. So I think you're a good example of the good sides of capitalism, and that's
Yeah, and so are you. You're a great example of it as well, and what everyone can become. And yeah, it's amazing. Well, thank you again for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you very much, Greg, and yeah, real pleasure to have spoken to you, and yeah, have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.